I'm Chance.
And I'm Sarah Catherine.
And this is Conservation Connection.
Presented by Last Chance Endeavors.
We're a husband and wife team running a wildlife education nonprofit. It's focused on connecting students to their environment.
Each week, here on Conservation Connection, we do just that by introducing you to the groundbreaking science and conservation work that's happening every day across the globe.
We talk to professionals in the world of conservation science and wildlife management and ask them about their careers,
their current projects,
their wild and crazy stories from the field,
and everything in between.
This episode is a collaboration with SeaWorld San Antonio and their Park to Planet weekend.
Park to Planet is a way for SeaWorld to shine a spotlight on the conservation work accomplished by their staff members and the partner organizations that they support.
And educators as they share their journeys and the ways in which SeaWorld has supported their efforts.
Let's get to the show.
Alrighty guys, welcome to another episode of Conservation Connection. We are here at SeaWorld's Park to Planet weekend in San Antonio, where they're showcasing how their partners are helping to protect the planet in really cool and awesome ways. So we're sitting across the table from Christian Fritz and Saul from K9s for Conservation.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
We're very happy to have you here. Thank you for making time for us and for bringing Saul, which you can introduce us to Saul if you would like to.
Sure. So Saul is my K9 partner. He is a 5-year-old German Shepherd. I got him from a rescue up in Idaho about 4.5 years ago. And I initially trained him to do search and rescue. So he's trained to find live people that are missing. In Utah, there was a pretty good amount of call for that. You know, Boy Scouts wander away from camp or hikers get lost. And so we'd get calls out. But here in Texas, there's so much private land and so little public land that we really don't get called out for the type of search that we do. And part of the reason that I'm doing this, especially with Saul, is he needed a new job. I wanted to train him to something where I could use him. He's a phenomenal dog. You know, he's got great drive, great personality, and it's just a great dog. And he was kind of being wasted because we never got calls out. So we'd train and we'd train and we'd train and never got a chance to use the skills.
Yeah.
So how exactly did you take those skills and what's the new job? What's he doing now?
All right. So now Saul is a sea turtle nest detection dog. So down here in Texas, the primary turtle that nests on our coast is called a Kemp's Ridley. They are the most endangered sea turtle in the world. They're also the smallest sea turtle in the world. They weigh about 100 pounds when they're adults, and they have some interesting nesting behaviors that most other sea turtles don't. Most sea turtles nest during the night. Kemp's Ridleys nest during the day, and they nest in groups. So their defensive mechanism is a massive wave.
Just overwhelming predators.
Overwhelming predators. So the olive ridleys and the Pacific do the same thing. But the Kemp's Ridleys also like to nest when it's windy. That's again part of their defense mechanism is the tracks get blown away and any sign of the turtle and where the nest is gets blown away really quickly. So it makes it harder for predators to find. Unfortunately, it also makes it harder to find those nests for the conservationists out here. So we have the National Park Service has a Sea Turtle Science and Recovery Division headed by Dr. Donna Shaver. Basically what they do is they have a turtle patrol. They drive up and down the beach all day long during nesting season looking for sea turtles so they can check the sea turtles out, make sure they're healthy, document them, tag them, and also they locate the nests. And once the turtle's gone, they dig up the eggs to protect them from predators, from vehicles, because we have vehicles driving on the beaches here, from high tides, different natural stuff like that. And they take them in, they incubate them in their facility or in one of their protected corrals. And then when they hatch, they do these releases, and it's really cool, and everybody should check it out. But so the National Park Service does it. The UTs, University of Texas Marine Science Institute, Amos Rehabilitation Keep, or the ARC, also does the same job on Mustang Island. And down on South Padre, we have Sea Turtles Inc., which does this as well.
So basically the whole issue is that we've got this endangered sea turtle that's got a really interesting nesting behavior where they're doing it during the day and they're doing it during windy times to make it really hard for predators to find their nests, but also it's hard for people who want to save sea turtles to find those nests to protect them as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And the whole thing is that sea turtles, they produce more young than can survive. So a single sea turtle is going to be laying around 80 to 100 eggs. Is that the right ballpark?
Yep, that's about it.
With the expectation that a lot of those in a natural setting are not going to make it, but a couple of those will. And what these conservationists are doing is they're trying to kickstart the population by saying, okay, instead of 2% of the individuals of this nest making it, or a significant part of these nests being eaten by predators before they even hatch, we're going to go collect all of the nests that we can find, hatch them in human care, get them through that first incubation period, and then once they are hatched and ready to swim out on their own, you go release them so that they can all make it out to the water to get their best possible opportunity to survive and become adults.
Precisely.
Cool.
Yeah.
So how long has K9s for Conservation been around?
Just over a year.
Oh, wow. So super young.
Yeah. So basically, I was sitting at Starbucks with my girlfriend. We were talking about what we were going to do for her birthday, which is in June. And I know she loves sea turtles. We looked at SeaWorld, but this was last year, and they didn't have the sea turtles here yet. And so I was looking for places that I could see sea turtles, and I, Googled it, and I saw the National Seashore has this sea turtle program. So I started clicking on buttons and following links, and I fell down the click hole. And as I'm reading, I came across a part where they're talking about how they find the nests. And so, like I said, they drive up and down the beach looking for the nests. If they don't see the turtle, within sometimes 30 minutes of the turtle going back into the ocean, the signs of the nest are completely gone because the wind is blowing that sand so hard that it erases all their tracks very quickly. And so sometimes they'll get a call or a report from a visitor, or they'll see just a little bit of tracks in some of the wet sand that holds the tracks a little longer. But beyond that, they don't know where the nest is. They're looking at like a quarter to a half acre sized area where there might be a nest. And it's very difficult for them to locate these. Like there's some people that are some really, really good at taking really good guesses on where the nest is. But what they do is they probe. So they take a stick and they very carefully and gently and with great skill, so as to not damage the eggs, they probe the sand looking for a soft spot that could be the neck of the nest. And then they use their hands, gloved. They use their gloved hands, and they dig down and they try to figure out where the eggs are. And then they'll mark it and wait for somebody to come collect the eggs. But that process can take hours, and it can even take days. With the dogs, we can go out there and we can find a nest within 10 or 15 minutes. In fact, earlier this year, my teammate Diana and her dog Kenny were up on Mustang Island with the Ark, and they located a nest. A guest had called it in, said, hey, there's a nesting turtle. By the time they got out there, the tracks were all blown out. They let the dog out, and within a few minutes, the dog had indicated 6 inches away from the neck of the nest.
Wow. I
mean, it was perfect case scenario for us. They recovered 77 eggs of the critically endangered Kemp's Ridley. So that is like some
proof of
That's a huge
exactly.
win.
We were very, very excited about that.
Yeah.
And huge congratulations to Diana and Kenny for getting our first find. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah. So how do you train these dogs to find the sea turtle nest?
So we take it's kind of hard and kind of not hard. We do a lot of our initial training off the coast. So I live between San Antonio and Austin and San Marcos, and we're 3 hours away from the beach, so we can't go train at the beach all the time like we'd like to. So what we do is we take a little bit of sand from a nest, and we train the dogs that smell is valuable. So to start out, I'll have some sand in a little container. It's sitting in the kitchen, no other dogs around, and I'll just hold it out, and the dog will be like, oh, what's this? They come over, is this treat? Can I eat, right? So they come over, and of course, they stick their nose on it. They stick their nose on it, and I mark it. You can use a clicker, you can use a marker word, but you mark the behavior, and then you reward them. They stick their nose on it again, you mark the behavior and reward them. And you just do this a couple of times until they start to really get the idea. Like every time I stick my nose on this can, I get good stuff.
Yeah.
And then they draw that connection. This smell means good things for me.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And then we start hiding it and putting it in different containers and moving it around. And then we'll take them outside where there's some more distractions. And you just start building up the difficulty until you start doing stuff like putting out 4 or 5 identical containers, and only one of them has the nest scent in it. And the dog has to figure out which one it is and properly indicate. And then we'll start putting sand in all of them. But 4 of them are just regular beach sand, and one of them has the nest scent in it. And the dogs will have to indicate, between those 5, which one has the nest scent. And they get really good at it. I mean, we're looking specifically for dogs that have like tons of drive. They want to mostly play, but we can work with food drive or praise drive, whatever the dog likes. You just start associating that scent with that reward, and they'll work forever for it.
Because it's fun for them.
It is.
When they get it right, you throw them a party.
It's
like,
a great
good job.
game. Yes.
Here's your reward.
And we call it a puppy party.
That's
great.
So when the dog finds the finds the scent, you reward him and you throw him a puppy party. It's kind of funny. I'm a big dude with my big scary beard, and I make some really embarrassing noises when I'm throwing a puppy party.
But it's embarrassing noises for conservation.
It's
There
for the
you
sea
go.
turtles.
It's for the sea turtles.
I actually, I was helping a search and rescue teammate out with her dog training one day, and she was having trouble getting excited enough for her dog. Her dog was like, oh yeah, hey, I guess I won. I'll take my treat now. And I was like, no, you have to be really pumped. So the dog gets pumped. So it's really exciting.
Share that energy.
And it just so happened that this former Marine Corps dog handler came riding by on his bike and was like, hey, can I watch for a little bit? And we're like, oh yeah, sure, whatever, and he's watching. And I started talking to her about this, and he was like, yeah, let me tell you what, if you don't feel like an absolute moron rewarding your dog, you're doing it wrong. And I mean, you can just imagine watching, all these big Marines, like training their dogs doing the squeaky Mickey Mouse voice. Oh, what a good puppy, like it's, yeah.
That's awesome. What a perfect storm of being committed to your animals. And the animals obviously are going to love it because they're getting rewarded, but they're also working. They have stimulation. It's not just sitting around all day long. And you're saving the most endangered sea turtle in the world at the same time. It's a perfect combination.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of fell into it. Like I said, I was going through the click hole. Saw that, how hard it was to do this probing. And I was like, man, they should use dogs for this. I sent this National Seashore an email, and Dr. Shaver emailed me back and told me that she had actually in the past trained her dog, whose name is Ridley Ranger, a little Cairns Terrier, to do the same thing. And for about 10 years, he helped them out locating nests. And when I contacted her, he had passed away, I think 3 months before. So it was really recent. They just lost that capability. And I was like, hey, I mean, is this something you're interested in? Do you want to have that capability back? And she said, hey, the dogs are expensive. We don't really have a budget for that. And I decided, well, it's adorable dogs and critically endangered baby sea turtles. Like, if I can't get somebody to help me fund this, I don't know what I'm doing.
It's like a PR dream.
It really is.
Yeah.
Like, how can you possibly mess this up? I'm trying really hard. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, so I offered her to do it as a nonprofit and provide the service for them for free. And then I've also extended that offer to the ARC, the Marine Science Institute. And eventually we'd like to get down to Sea Turtles Inc. on South Padre as well and cover the vast majority of the nesting in Texas.
So what you're saying is that what started as like research for a girlfriend's birthday turned into, hey, yeah, I'll just start a nonprofit. No biggie.
That's, yep.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to people as well, and they've asked me, like, oh, that sounds really cool. How much does it pay? And I was like, well, I think last year it was like negative $12,000.
Yep.
But
you're speaking our language.
Yeah.
The Last Chance Endeavors is a nonprofit, and we're about a year old at this point, and it's like, I cannot wait for my first paycheck. That's going to be great.
Oh yeah. It's but it's a labor of love. I mean, I teach, so I'm a graduate student, doctoral student. So I teach during the fall and the spring semester. And then this is my summer. Like, I go drive around on the beach with dogs and look for sea turtles. I mean, yeah, I'm not getting paid, but it's a lot of fun. You know, it's dogs, which I love. It's the beach, which I love. It's sea turtles, which I love. It's just really cool.
Yeah.
I just love that you were able to take this passion of yours and find a way to make it really make a difference. And that's what it's all about. It's taking what you're good at, working with dogs, what you're passionate about, working with dogs, and finding a way to make that something that does a lot of good for the planet. Yeah,
and one of the things that's surprised me in the course of this is how it's opened my eyes to other things as well. I mean, I always see memes on the internet about plastic in the ocean and stuff. But man, driving up and down the beach every day for hours, you see all the Mylar balloons washed up, you see all the plastics, and it's really horrifying to see how much there is. And then I've started to make changes myself. I'm an iced tea-aholic. I drink probably unhealthy amounts of it every day. And it used to be that you would go to the places where I was, hanging out, in my car or, at my desk. And there would just be like tons of plastic cups all over the place with, lids and straws. And I'd throw giant bagfuls away at a time. And from doing this, I kind of realized maybe I should get, a metal cup and try that out. And so I started using a metal cup, and I don't have this massive amount of cups laying around anymore. And then I started metal straws, and now we're actually, as a fundraiser, we have some straws that have our logo on them that we're selling. We'll have them on our website in the not too distant future, and hopefully some tumblers as well with our logo that will hopefully get us some much needed funding. The gas up and down the beach isn't free, but more importantly, people using these cups and people using these metal straws, it doesn't seem like it's a big difference but it really adds up. And it especially adds up as more and more of us are starting to come to the realization that these things do matter, and if I do my little part and that encourages somebody else to do their part and somebody else to do their part, we start to see this growth and momentum.
It's a movement.
Then we're really going to start to make a difference,
Yep. Yeah. One of my favorite quotes is that we don't need a few people doing zero waste living perfectly. We need millions of people doing zero waste living imperfectly.
Yeah.
Just those little differences every day add up, and they make you want to have a larger impact and a larger impact, and it grows over time.
For sure. Sure.
And if it's not enough to reduce plastic use, metal cups and tumblers and bottles, keep your drink significantly colder or hotter for longer. So
Especially
there's
in
another
Texas.
selling point.
Yeah. It makes a huge difference. And now it's
Yeah.
not like sweating all over the table or whatever.
So there's a few selling points to that.
There definitely is. I mean, so we have to keep our scent cold. It's generally frozen, and we'll take a little bit out at a time and use it. But if I'm out on the beach for 12 hours, it warms up. It starts to lose its potency over time. And so one of the things I'll do is I take a little food container that's Arctic food container, and I throw it in there with an ice pack, and it keeps it nice and cold and fresh. And I'll take it out and warm it up just for the work, and then I'll put it back in there and let it get cold again. And that's going to make our sources last longer, which is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of to wrap up the session here, could you tell us a little bit about K9s for Conservation's work with SeaWorld?
So basically, one of my classmates in college is a former trainer here at SeaWorld. And she's really interested in what we're doing with the sea turtles and the dogs. And she was talking to me, and she was like, "Oh, you should hit up some people some people that I know at SeaWorld." And so I did. I reached out, and Kelly was like, "Hey, you can come out for this event." And I was like, "That sounds amazing." And so we've come out. You got to talk to a lot of people about the dogs. You get to pet the dogs. We got to talk to them about sea turtles and stuff. So it's been a lot of fun. We met a lot of great people, and I really hope that we have an opportunity to do more stuff with them in the future.
Yeah, what a great way to get a ton of members of the public seeing what you guys are doing. And of course they're going to walk over because you have the dogs here with you. So they're going to come want to talk to you. I mean, just getting you to this building to get an interview with you, we were stopped how many times getting talking about the dogs with so many people. So I just love that you guys are able to work together to kind of get you a little bit more publicity so that you can continue to do this awesome work.
If people wanted to get involved with the organization or learn more about you, where could they go?
So our website is K9sforconservation.org. We also have a Facebook page and an Instagram where I post pictures of dogs and turtles. Sometimes me. I apologize. I try to keep those to a minimum. Nobody wants to see this. They want to see the dogs and the turtles. I get it. We're updating the website right now. One of my volunteers is working on that, Courtney. Hi, Courtney. And so she's working on updating some of the stuff on the website. We're going to start adding like the straws and the cups eventually to sell as fundraisers there. But we're also in the future, we want to start a sponsor a dog program.
Oh, awesome.
So we get some help with some of the dog costs. I did some math the other day, and they cost about $200 a month per dog. And we have 7 of them right now that are trained or in training. So it's a pretty significant amount of money. When you add that all up, and it's dog food, vet bills, insurance. They have to have their flea and tick medicine and their heartworm medicine. So we got all the mosquitoes down here. So there's a lot that goes into it, and so any help we can get there is awesome.
Well,
Absolutely.
Great. We're going to put links to your website and your social media and stuff all in the show notes. If you guys are listening, scroll down. You guys can check it out from right here where you're listening to the podcast. Just click on those links to be able to get some more information, and keep following it because this is a young organization, and I can tell that they're going to go on to do some really, really cool things. Thank you so much for being on the show with us today. This has been a great conversation, and I cannot wait to see what you guys do next. Yeah,
thanks very much for having us on. This was a lot of fun, and we're excited to move forward and do more awesome things.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Conservation Connection.
If you enjoyed our podcast, go ahead and subscribe to make sure you catch every episode that we post.
We'd love to hear from you. So if you want to reach out, go to our website, lastchanceendeavors.com/contact, and shoot us an email.
We love questions from our listeners, so if you heard something that you want to know more about, be sure to let us know.
If you've got a minute to spare, leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts will help other conservation-minded people find the show. We'd really appreciate it.
A big thanks to SeaWorld San Antonio for hosting us, and a big thanks to you for listening. Don't forget to tune in next week.